us to use. And you do need to be mindful of people who might be teleconferencing in. So with that structure in place, you can see that, for example, we're covering Gate 1 right now, and the A teams are going to go their first week. And then we'll cover Gate 1 again, just as a refresher, and then the next week the B teams will go. So if you want to show up a week in advance and hear about what is required for the gate, do. If you want to show up 3 days in advance, again, to get a final refresher, just make sure you have everything well and truly squared off, please do. But it's not required, but if everybody shows up, you get bonus points. So those are the 6 gates and the structure, and the locations, and the teams. The way this looks on a organizational chart is something like this, in which we have Tuesday gates, 2, 3, and 4. We have Wednesday gates at 11:15, 12:15, 1:15, 2:15, 5, and we have gates on Thursday at 1 and 2. So that's 9 hours each week. So that's what I'll be doing this semester. And then they're staggered between A teams and B teams. All of this has been summarized for you in a Google Doc. It's live and active, and it's available for you to edit if needed. It has all the contact information for all the teams. It has your emails. It has instructor name and emails. It has your clinical collaborator that you listed, name and emails, their institution. It has your primary teaching assistant's name and email. It has the faculty mentors who will be mentoring your team, showing up for your gates, name and emails. It has the graduate students who've signed up to assist with this, name and emails. It has your gate, day, and time, and I just haven't put in the actual gate dates from that other document here. So everything is summarized on this Google Doc, and this is something that we can share external to the university, and it will finally actually have hopefully some design advisory board mentors that are external to companies, and final links to your final document, your technical specification sheet, and your final video. This is kind of a summary document so that everybody can contact everybody else if they need to. It also has your needs statement, just so we can kind of shop this out to design advisory board members if they want to give you some expertise in a particular area. So I will give you the link to this, and I invite you to go in and make sure everything is correct. I've been using it to actually copy-paste emails and things, so it seems that everything is in order. Your team name might not be up to date, so that kind of stuff you just want to tweak, you're very more than welcome to. So with that schedule, any questions on that? A teams, B teams, when you show up? Okay, we'll get into what you do now when you go there. So a gate basically is you presenting on a particular set of documents and for a particular reason. So there are ways that we're going to assess that. It essentially is a team presentation, and you're presenting on certain design documents. And the rubric for that is one in which you show up and we assess you on how well you presented your material and what that material constitutes. So you get a grade for meeting flow and presentation, for technical engineering progress and effort, evidence of the design process and use, project goals on track, and your overall team health. So if you do everything as expected, if you just show up and do it, you'll get an 8. 80%. If you do a great job, excellent job, stellar job, you if you start to miss out on things, don't present things, have really poor dynamics in your team structure, things aren't going as planned, Lord forbid somebody actually doesn't show up, then you start getting dinged. So if you just have a train wreck of a presentation and nothing goes right and you didn't present what you were supposed to and you are really, really bad, that's not good. And the way this works is you do your presentation, you have an hour. There are, minimum of a TA and an instructor and possibly 2 other faculty from the department, possibly 2 or 3 other graduate students. So there's probably more of them than you. And you present, then they kick you out of the room for 5 or 10 minutes. We deliberate, we fill in this sheet, and we bring you back in and give you your assessment. And so you know your final GATE presentation grade before you leave that day. Everybody signs off on it, and that's 4%. So every time you do a GATE, you get 4% of your grade. And that's the score sheet for that. For a rubric, for this, also in box, basically we break down for you what this looks like, what would be required for you if you got an 8. For example, meeting flow and presentation. If all team members were very active, professionally dressed, mannered, in command of the meeting, superior organization of the meeting, topics and action points concisely covered, you get a 10. And then all the way down to members' absence without reason, clear that all members are not participating, materials missing, clearly unrehearsed presentation, requested topics absent or not covered, and significant time wasted. That can be as low as a 0. And so that's all covered in this rubric. You have everything from meeting flow and presentation, technical engineering progress effort, design process used, goals on track, and team health. Most of this is pretty easily understandable. I'd say the one part that is consistently underdone and not well understood is design process used. And this quite simply means that you have addressed the basic concept of inputs equals outputs, that you clearly are trying to solve the need, that you address the need recursively, iteratively in this process, that you understand the idea that everything that you're doing must follow a flow, that you understand what the purpose of the design history file documents that we've requested of you are in that particular GATE, and that you understand that in a design process you don't just do things. You're doing things for a reason, and that you can communicate that you've done them for a particular reason, which is more than just, I thought that was going to be a good thing to do. And that is difficult to convey unless you've actually done it that way. So in evidence of the design process and use, it requires that you go and you look back and you say, okay, what did that traceability matrix mean? What was that design input? What was that need? And why did I do it the way I did it? That includes things like keeping track of your progress, being able to accurately communicate what your Gantt chart was and who did what. It just simply means that you're part of a design team and you've communicated that process within that GATE. So that's something that we're going to touch on more and more just to make sure that you do get a good grade for that one. Because that's an often one that rarely people get a 10 on. So that's the presentation rubric and the assessment for that GATE. And again, there's 6 of those GATEs, and you get 4% of your grade for each of those. If you have any team member that misses a GATE for an unexcused reason, they get a 10% reduction in their final grade. GATEs are very important, and it's very important that everybody shows up and participates. And so, although there is no absent penalties for attending this lecture, if you miss a gate for no reason, then that's a severe detriment to your team. Chances are you probably weren't doing anything anyway as part of that gate, and so it's on an individual basis, not on a team basis. You'll lose 10% of your grade. Okay, so what's in these gates? Any questions? All right. So, design history file. So please read this. We'll cover it, but it basically covers everything that's due as part of this grade. Oh, that should be 60%. I'm sorry. I'll correct that. Everybody's seen a design history file by this point in time. Big binder. We've got the 3-inchers this semester. We're going to fill it. It goes by the tangent of the angle of the final design history file. If it's straight out like this, it's doing pretty well. If it's above there, you basically get the A. It's below there, you can see D. If they're touching at the end, that's the E. Anyway, let's do it. Design history files it's an active document, and it's something that basically is going to be one person, your team's best friend. Every gate there are design history file documents due. So we're just going to go in and start covering gate 1, for example.